And welcome to another Mortgage Coach Productivity Mastermind call. It is January 12th, second Friday of 2018. Exciting year. I'm hearing lots of success in the marketplace. Today, as my co-host and facilitators, I have Michelle Town, who's not on video, but she's going to be here on call. What's up, Michelle?
Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. We do expect to have Kristen Mesterly join us. She's got a few ideas and things to talk about, so she will be a co-host on today's call. If anybody does want to, ask a question, start a topic, contribute to the conversation, please do raise your hand throughout the call. In GoToWebinar, there is a place where you can raise your hand, and I can unmute you and bring you into the conversation. And so we are absolutely going to be bringing people into the call, whether you raise your hand or not. So if you do have a thought, question, idea, please do raise your hand throughout the call. I know I've got a few things I want to make sure we talk about. I have kicked off the year with, I think, annual reviews are the number one priority. And I did spend some time writing up a LinkedIn article, making my case. And so far, I feel like a lot of people are agreeing with me. They're like, you're right. These are all the reasons. I do need to make this a priority. And we've had over 100 people opt into our mobile accountability program. So I will share that number again for anybody that wants to get a daily reminder saying, how many annual reviews did you create this today? And based off your response, you get a different answer. I do want to kick off today's call by pushing a poll in our question, and I want to ask everybody on this call right now, how many annual reviews have you done for the week? Is it 0, 1 to 2, 3 to 6, 7 plus? By the way, Michelle, how would you answer that?
So I am right now, I'm committed to 2 annual reviews a day. I have missed 2 of those days, but I made up and did 4 in one day. So I cheated a little bit.
So you're killing it. So you're definitely over 7. So right now we've got 3% of the audience that it says 7 plus. By the way, only 60% of you have voted. So please, let's get that. I don't move off of a poll until we get 70% voting. So please answer. By the way, I should have put an option in here saying, what is an annual review? Because I'm just assuming, because we've talked about it so much, there's been, an article, it's been trending in our space now for over a month. Everybody does know what it is. But by the way, if you don't know what an annual review is, in questions, ask me, what's an annual review? And based off of how many of you put that question in, I will make that a topic. All right, so here I'm going to push the results. So the results are 43% are 0. The good news is over 50% have done an annual review this week. Great job, you guys. The majority of you have not done more than 3. Good news is we've got 15% of you that have done over 3. And by the way, the industry averages less than 5% of the loan officers do annual reviews. And so, everybody in this community, we're better. But hopefully, as we get further into the year, I will continue to ask this question, and I will continue to push this agenda. Now, I'm going to stop sharing the poll question. If you do have questions around annual reviews, I will try to make that a bit of a topic and answer some questions around that. I do, to make the first topic that I want to hear, I want to throw it to you, Michelle. But one of the things I want to take today's call around is just getting clear on our why. Like, why are we a mortgage professional? If there are some new tools that we need to use that are cornerstone to our success this year, why are you going to make them? Why are you going to do it? Because one thing that's become very clear to me, because every year, this time of year, we all personally reflect. What are we going to commit to? What are some bad habits that we're going to stop? What are some good habits that we need but we don't have, and we got to form them? And I just had a personal journey around my fitness goals, and I actually made it a goal that I'm going to do Ken Perry's push-up challenge. and I'm going to do one push-up for every day of the year. So, today I did 12 push-ups in the morning. At the end of the year, I'll be doing 365 push-ups in a single day by the end of the year. And I had an interesting journey. When I first saw Ken do that, and he announced how he did this push-up challenge, I'm like, I'm not doing that. Like, good for you, Ken. You're a badass. Like, I can't believe you did, 67,000 push-ups this year. But, I'm not doing that. And then as the days went by, I kept thinking about it, going, you know what? If I made that one commitment, I would change my fitness. And so I kind of started developing this personal why. And then the more I reflected on it, I go, wait, I got a teenage son who's an elite athlete who, this would be no problem for him. He's 15. And I'm like, so I have a live-in accountability partner, my badass son that will hold me accountable. So that's kind of an interesting opportunity. So kind of developed my why a little deeper. And then I started thinking about it. Wow, that would be really a good father and son, bonding thing. My why got deeper. Bottom line is he's doing it. I'm doing it because I grew my why. And now my why is huge. I'm going to do it. And now I'm telling everybody on this call I'm going to do it. So I want everybody to start thinking about what is your why? And I thought an easy question to kick things off around, and I posted this question this morning in our Facebook group, which, by the way, I'm going to shine a light on that. What is your mortgage why? I also posted a worksheet that we did last year called the Mortgage Coach Why Worksheet. And in this worksheet, we help you develop your mortgage why, and we also help you develop your mortgage coach why. Like, why should every family get a total cost analysis? The more personal it is, the more meaningful it is, the more likely it is that you will actually achieve it. So I'm going to throw it out there. And Michelle, just so I can see what we're getting from the audience, we're going to start with, what is your mortgage why? And then if there is anything that you kind of set as a goal for the year and you want to share your why around that, I would love for you to be transparent and share right now.
Okay. Wow, put me on the spot here. So my mortgage why, I was so lucky 2 years ago. I got to go to to a workshop that helped me understand. And Dave, and you guys, that worksheet that Dave has posted is incredible, because it's what we did in a 3-day course where we learned how to identify, what is your why? Why are you doing this? And it can't be, obviously, financial gain is one of them, but why do you want to help people? And, we came and designed our core values, which is we want to make a positive impact on our clients' lives, with oh gosh, sorry, my brain is dying on Friday, with excellent customer service and compassion. That was really important to us. And I let my team help design our why for the mortgage coach. Mortgage community. What are we trying to do? And the biggest thing that we wanted to do, we really wanted to make a positive impact on people's lives. That was like our huge why. And I know one of the exercises that I did, and I don't know if any of you coached, but one of the exercises my coach made me do, she made me write my obituary first. And that was so difficult. But what it did is it helped me design what I wanted people to remember me for. And that really helped me design my why. And it helped me design my why on people, what I do with human beings, not only what I do in the mortgage world. So my core values are a combination of mortgage, but also personal as well. I don't want people who, as Jen always said, are one of my old people at RPM, she said, I want people who compliment me, not complicate me. And that's been a huge impact on my life. I would really encourage you to use that worksheet to design your why, because sometimes you just don't know where to start. And you're like, how do I start this? And those questions that are on that worksheet will open up a world of information to help you design your why.
All right, guys. So I have put the worksheet online. There's a link in our Facebook group. And just to walk you through it, you start with your values, listing out your values. What are your top mortgage values? And then you get, come up with 6 of them, then whittle it down to 3, and then start writing. Just write. This is for you. And then, we designed this because it's part of, what we've learned is that the most successful mortgage coach loan officers are the ones with the most passionate, clear why I use mortgage coach. And so, we actually also gave you some samples, of what different loan officers said. Here's Michelle Town. I use mortgage coach to impact my clients' understanding of their options. Through the mortgage coach total cost analysis, we're able to make an impactful decision for their financial future. So, I mean, she's, if you, listen to calls with Michelle, she has got a servant's heart. She want to help people at the highest level. And so her why is to do it. And again, we gave you examples of other loan officers and what their whys. We gave you a list of them. So check that out. Now, I would love it if someone would raise their hand. I do see a lot of names that I know, so I am going to just call on some people if no one raises their hand. So, kind of going once, going twice, and then I'm just going to start calling people and asking, what is your why? And Michelle, I'm going to come back to you if there is anything that you've, I've taken on this push-up challenge, and I've really built a why around it to where it's like literally one of the most important things that I'm going to do for the year, because it's going to improve my personal fitness. It's going to give me more energy. It's going to help me bond with my son. I've got just so many reasons why, it's a big goal. I can't imagine doing 67,000 push-ups this year, but if Kim Perry could do it, by the way, throw down on you, Kim Perry. So can I. By the way, I see that a few other people have taken on that challenge. Great job to you on that. But do we have any hands raised? Still no hands raised. That's okay. I'm going to call on Bliss Sawyer. Bliss Sawyer, what is up, and happy 2018.
I didn't raise my hand on purpose because I was testing you, Dave. You failed.
Well, you always bring so much value to these conversations. So,
well, I love this. So my why, it's actually 2 parts. It's helping families with their financial goals through home ownership, because I think that's so important. This morning I took a loan out of these 2 kids. They're cousins. They're buying a house. One's 21 and one's 20, right? I think they're just brilliant to be doing this. So that's the first part of my why. But the second part is it's creating an amazing life for my family, not only right now, but we have, kind of some crazy things we want to be doing as we get towards retirement or semi-retirement. And this industry, it allows that. So I've got 2 whys that are pretty important to me.
I love that. And by the way, that kind of starts putting another light around this. I'm speaking at several sales rallies over the next few months, and a theme that I've been asked by the CEO, head of production and leadership, is that, hey, we got a lot of loan officers that are, doing $20 million a year, but they want to go to 30. We want to help them. Or we've got people that are at 10 that want to go to 20. And so I've been working on my keynote, not just coming in and saying, hey, look at all these loan officers that close over 100 loans a year, 200 loans a year. Look what are they doing? Look at their best practices. You should do this too. But I'm literally going, I've got to spend the first part of my conversation with going, why? If you're whatever your production is right now, and you want to take it to another level, which means 1, you got to do more loans, and 2, you're going to make more money. What's your why? And by the way, not just what is your mortgage why, but what is the why behind that elevated goal that you have personally. And by the way, I guarantee the loan officers that are the most clear on that and that have put realistic goals around that are going to be the ones that actually take it to the next level this year. And the loan officers where it's just kind of like this, yeah, I want to go from 20 to 30, or yeah, I want to go from 15 to 25, or whatever it is. I want to go from 50 to 70. The loan officer that's the most clear, the most passionate, and has some simple roadmaps and some daily KPIs, that's the loan officer that's going to do it. What are your thoughts on that, Bliss?
I actually agree. And here's an idea for everybody. So every year I do a vision board party with my real estate agents. And so help them, this is a marketing tool, help them to understand and the power behind your why. My whys are so powerful, especially the personal why, that it really drives me to do things even when I don't feel like it. And so share whatever that vision is that you have with your referral partners and get them excited, because most of them want to increase their business too. They don't understand why it's not happening and or what they need to do for it. So share the idea and your journey.
Love that. Love that. So, Bliss, if you have questions or you want to add more, I'll unmute you. Just let me know. Any questions or anything you want to talk about before I put you back on mute and go to someone else?
No, it's great. Thanks, Dave.
All right, thank you. Hey, Michelle, what are some of your thoughts on, again, you're a $100 million a year producer, you do insane volume, but as a mentor to other loan officers that want to just go to the next level, whatever that next level is, while we're having this whole why, put why first, why matters, any leadership or advice you have?
Definitely. I have two things that I would love to bring into play, and one of them, Dave, goes to your push-up challenge. It's called, I can't remember, we had a great keynote speaker at one of our sales rallies, and he talked about, it was something that I took back and I really implemented, was it's a 1% change. It's not an overnight change. You cannot lose 20 pounds in one day. Well, you can, but not healthy. So if you want something that's sustainable,
how do you do that, by the way? Could you lose?
I don't know.
Could you lose 20 pounds in one day?
I don't know if you can lose 20 pounds. I'm sure you can talk to some models and they'll tell you how to do it. But it's a 1% a day. So for me, one of my big personal goals is, I'm a smoker, so I'm smoking. So mine is 1% a day. So I'm 1% less every day, and I'm successfully 9% better than I was at the beginning of the year. So I'm really happy right now with those results, and it's sustainable for me at this point. I do that also with when I want to implement a marketing change, because I'm that shiny object girl that sees it and wants to implement it right that second. It's a 1% result every day, because if you look at that, by the end of 365 days, or 200 working days, or 200 however many working days there are, you will make a 200% change in that event if you consistently work it. So if you can just think about it 1% a day, if you want to drink one less Coke a day, or if you want to talk to one more client a day, that 1% challenge is going to make you do 66,000 push-ups in the year. It's really, if you can keep it simple, it really works. The other thing is that I do this with every single one of my realtors, every single one of my teammates, and I do it with me every beginning of every year. And it's a worksheet from Expecting Change. And Dave, when I get to the computer today, I will post it. There's a worksheet for individuals, and then there's a worksheet for teams. And it's very simple. It's stop, start, continue. So if you don't know where you want to start your goals for this year, like if you want to get to 10% more production, you go through this really simple stop. What do you want to stop this year? What do you want to stop doing? And you can use this in your personal life as well. What do you want to continue doing? What are you doing right now that is working so well for you, or that had a great return on its investment, or that you finally, like mortgage coaches, I'm really becoming really adept at them. I can do them in 5 or 10 minutes now versus 40 minutes is what it took me to do last year. And then what do you want to start? What is something that you want to implement? And if you ever walk into a realtor going, I don't know what I'm going to say to them besides listen at first, I always ask them, with your permission, do you have 3 minutes to do this quick exercise with me? And they love it. And I love it because I get to dig a little bit deeper with them, and I get to learn where I can help them.
Love it. Hey, Michelle, I don't know if you stopped talking or we lost you.
No, I stopped talking.
Good. So love that. So by the way, everybody, while Michelle was talking, I was scrolling through our Facebook group, because on January 2nd, I posted a poll question saying, what is your goal for how many families you want to close a loan for in 2018? And by the way, I was reminded of something as I was doing that, because I had to scroll for a long time. was reminded of the fact that this Facebook group is becoming like awesome. Those of you that are posting questions, posting comments, participating in the polls, great job. I mean, that is, that's what makes the mortgage coach community so valuable. It's that we have some of America's most successful loan officers in this community, and we're sharing ideas. We're asking each other questions, and the answers that are coming in are amazing. Chesky, I don't know if you're on today's call, but from Chesky's in Brooklyn. He's doing his annual reviews. He sent me an email saying, Dave, any feedback on this email before I sent it out to, schedule annual reviews? I posted it on the Facebook group. And guys, I mean, it was like, marketing, the advice that he got on that email to make it better was like, invaluable. I mean, he now has an email that's going to crush it. But I want to just highlight here that, I asked everybody, what is your production goal? And you notice that everybody wants to close over 50. There were an option. Let me see. I think there was an option here. I want to close less than 50 loans in 2018. No one checked into that box. But yet 70% of loan officers close less than 50 loans a month. So no one wants to be in that under 50 club. But let's face it, there's a lot of folks in that club. And so I just want to remind folks, and by the way, most people want to be as close to 100 as possible. Not everybody wants to close over 200 loans a month, and I'm not even here to advocate that you should. I'm here to advocate that whatever your goal is, that you beat it and you achieve it. So that's what we're here for. So I want everybody, as a homework from today's call, to get really clear on your mortgage why, so that it's bigger than just a commission check. It's bigger than just a house and a car. It serves the family. I'm gonna make the case again that if all you did is add annual reviews to your, consistently every week I'm doing X number. And by the way, that X number has to be enough to achieve your business goals. So if your business goals are more than 100 loans, you're doing a lot of annual reviews. So I'm going to advocate that that's a goal. So by the way, it looks like Kristen Mesterly has joined us. Kristen, I don't know, are you on a place where you can turn on your video?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, join me on stage here.
All right.
So for those of you that don't know Kristen, she is a top speaker in the mortgage space, great advocate, actually was part of the original crew that created the Insane Productivity Mastermind, and there's some great videos that you did on social marketing and, how loan officers can use social. So hey, thanks for making it today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Glad to be back in the group.
Yeah. So I don't know when you jumped in and if you have anything to add to the party on, advice on getting clear on your why, anything you want to add to the conversation before we change the topic?
Yeah, no, I mean, I love this topic. This is actually something that we enforce, like when we do our trainings on reaching millennials or getting a social media or video strategy, we always start with that exact worksheet that you provided, which we have are giving out in all of these trainings, because it's so important that you establish your why and communicate that through all of your messaging. So in the digital strategy and thinking about how you're setting up your social media, that message of like being helping people get into homes, helping families, helping people make the biggest decisions of their lives, that authentic and genuine why is what people are looking for in order to trust you and not see you just as a salesperson. So I just think that from that perspective, like digital strategy and marketing, knowing your why is not only motivating for yourself, but it's also critical to your overall messaging.
I love that. And I actually am going to have to leave today's call about 15 minutes early. So let's make the final topic, Kristen, around, some of your thoughts. You and I did a video recently on if a loan officer was to do a lunch and learn with realtors around how to connect with first-time homebuyers, how to create urgency, how to create value, how to do more first-time homebuyer business. Why don't you kind of close out the last 15 minutes or so? And, you don't have to redo that video, but between you and Michelle, let's talk about that, because there's no doubt having your why will give you the energy to create habits that matter. It will also make you very attractive to the kind of people you want to do business with, which is a really good point.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, so we'll make that the last topic. So there's been a few people that have asked, where can I get this why worksheet? I posted it in our Facebook group. It's towards the top. You can also go to our support page and do search called why worksheet, and it's in there. So there's a lot of different places to get it. And by the way, if anybody ever, can't find something, you can either go to our Facebook page, or not our Facebook. Well, you could do a search. Like if you're looking at here right now, I'll bet you if I searched our group and I said why worksheet, let's see what happens. I think we might find something. But you can search our support page and boom, there you are. You've got a link to our why worksheet. So in one of our channels, which is our main website, our support website, our YouTube page, do a search and you'll find it. So thanks for asking that question, Gary. Also, I had a question. Cindy asked about what is a definition. Cindy, I didn't get a lot of people ask for that. So I'm going to recommend that you read this LinkedIn article that I have up right now. I do, one of my commitments last year was, I'm one of those people that I read a lot, an hour a day of consuming content. And I mean, over a year ago, I built up a why last year around, you know what? I'm going to add that, hey, I got to read a lot and take in the content, but then I need to take action on it. I need to, and since I serve the mortgage coach community, that means I need to journal on it. I need to create output like these LinkedIn articles where, I'm transcribing an interview, I'm putting it in an actual format, I'm pulling out the scripts so that our community can use the scripts to drive success. So that was a discipline I developed last year where it's like read and consume. By the way, whenever I do an interview, I allocate that in my 1 hour of learning and getting smarter every day. Years ago, it was reading books. Today it's reading audio blogs and interviewing people that I think bring value to the community. And then it's an hour of creating, journaling, writing, putting it in an actual format. So with that said, guys, we've got, I have over 30 LinkedIn articles. Think of this as a library of some of the best mortgage coach interviews, me putting an hour into content creation around them and sharing it as a gift. And for you who asked, what is an annual review? If you read this article and you study it, your question will be answered. There was also a question here around, should I have the total cost analysis prepared before the annual review? So there's no right answer here. I've had different loan officers do it different ways. And it also depends on what kind of team you have. So, there are loan officers that every time someone has a past customer, they have a process that they created an annual review. By the way, we are also working and should have automation very shortly with a number of clients and CRMs that will just automatically create a total cost analysis for every past customer. So automation is coming there. But to answer your question for now, Gary, what I am seeing is the most common strategy is sending out emails to clients for them to opt in to scheduling a meeting with you. And anywhere from 20 to 30% of them are scheduling a meeting. And then, yes, when you go into that meeting, there should already be an annual review filled out. And now you're modeling it for the client. It's like, hey, here's what your rate is today. This is what it could be. But then, hey, do you want to buy? What's your goal on when you want to buy a house? Oh, well, then what if you prepaid your mortgage? And then, oh, why don't I also make a move-up analysis for you? So you start, from that annual review, you model the TCA that you have. And then it may be like, hey, I have a friend or a child that's a first-time home buyer. Oh, well, let me put a rent versus own together for you. So you want to come into it with the total cost analysis because that is part of your annual review, but you also want to be agile enough to update it live. and you want to be agile enough that, you know what, you make another PCA. Some loan officers could do that on the spot. They're that good with Mortgage Coach, and some will say, hey, I'll get this out to you, and then we'll schedule another call. So, Gary, I hope that answers your question. If you do have more questions on that, let me know. And then, okay, that's good. So let's change the topic. And Kristen, since you came in late, is there any other topics you want to make sure we cover outside of Realtor, lunch and learns for purchase business?
No, I think this will play really well into that conversation, though, talking about the why and all of that. I was just pulling up a deck that I have planned for next week on how to get millennial referrals or from realtors, and I had a quote in there from Jeremy Forcier, who is a top mortgage producer that you've interviewed on the subject, and he says, "There's no more units anymore. There's no more volume. It's number of families served on all my goal sheets everywhere." And so that's it's really important that we are having those conversations before even talking about how to generate millennial realtor referrals. So I think this is a good lead-in.
Love it. So what I'd like to do before I hand it off to you, Michelle, to cover another topic, I'm going to go back to our group. And I'm going to go, to general group. I want to make sure I shine a light on a few things from this week that I think are important for the Mortgage Coach community. One is this morning I interviewed Mitch Kiter. Mitch Kiter is the most well-known, most well-used, speaks on MBA, speaks on the most stages on compliance. The guy's amazing. I've interviewed him dozens of times, but I interviewed him this morning. And I think it's important that every loan officer watches interviews like that and realizes that, in most cases, what makes you compliant also makes you more successful, especially when it comes to things like consistent experience. Like, don't give one family a total cost analysis, another one not. Don't do a good job of updating your CRM, asking one family, hey, what's your preferred way to communicate, and update CRM, take good notes, give them a total cost analysis, and then one family not. By the way, those are really important things to compliance, but they're also hallmarks of the most successful loan officers. Also, I interviewed, a couple days ago, I interviewed the former, I think it's right, it's amazing how much content we have in here now, guys. But this is an absolute must-watch. And by the way, this is a must-watch and a must-share with leadership at the company you work for. So I interviewed Steve Brown, who was the former chief futurist for Intel. So this is a guy that knows technology, studies trends, was at the highest level of being a futurist. To have the job of chief futurist at Intel, you got to really know your stuff. So, this is a guy that's very expensive to have keynote speak, incredibly, unaffordable for most mortgage companies to even have as an advisor. And I got to interview him for 30 minutes on the future of lending, and really with a focus around referral-based local loan officers. And I'm going to share a few thoughts of what he shared in this interview. By the way, I just realized I'm not sharing my screen. Sorry about that, everybody. I thought I was sharing my screen the whole time. But in this interview, he puts lenders in kind of three buckets: banks, technology companies that are lenders, and referral-based local lenders. By the way, in the bank, it's banks and credit unions and community banks. But, he really made the case that, over the next 2 years, we're going to see more change in our society and in the mortgage space than we had seen in the previous 10 years. And he cites Moore's Law, which pretty much has been proven out that technology accelerates and you see more change every 10 years than you did in the previous 50 years. So he goes, listen to this. And then he draws parallels to the retail space. And he said, basically, loan officers and lenders, if you want to watch where the puck is going, watch Amazon and Walmart, watch what's happening to boutique realtors, and, he speaks to the technology trends in the mortgage space. Anyways, super compelling. I'm going to give everybody the punchline. The punchline is key trends are multi-channel marketing, which include video, big data, artificial intelligence, and also get to the punchline. If you are a local referral-based loan officer, data matters like never before. You need to update your CRM. You need to make sure that you're understanding the communication preferences of the families that you serve and the realtors that you serve. That means email, text, Facebook, however they want to be communicated with. Absolutely essential to your success. And that means you're using tools like Mortgage Coach. One of the reasons why he did the call with me and we've become friends is he's like, this is exactly like if financial planners, CPAs, realtors, if they want to compete with the machine and 2 years are out, they need to use platforms like Mortgage Coach, because 2 years from now, you'll be able to call into a call center and you'll be talking to someone and you won't know whether you're talking to a machine or a human being. That is where technology is going. And self-driving cars and drones delivering packages. So, he's like the best defense for the individual referral-based local loan officer is to have data, understand preferences, and use technology to have a more personal experience. Because you and your personal experience is what's going to differentiate you in the future. And your ability to have those personal experiences with a lot of people really effectively is going to dictate your success, AKA annual reviews. This is a big reason of why I'm so passionate on advocating annual reviews, because I believe that the referral-based local loan officer that does that, you'll kill it this year, and there's no end in sight for your success, because you will have, just hundreds of thousands, depending on your ambition and your team, but you will have so many personal, customized relationships that you so efficiently communicate with that you'll be incredibly successful, regardless of what happens with, Rocket Mortgage and all the lenders that are going to leverage technology and they're going to man call centers that, are basically automation and robots. By the way, Kristen, anything you want to add to that?
I think you said it really well, but I would just kind of reinforce that it's really important that you are not just asking for the review, but you're following up and engaging with people that leave the reviews. Even every positive review, just saying, hey, thanks for leaving the review, or sending a personal message, or sending, with the negative reviews, saying like, hey, publicly, I'm sorry that you had this experience. We'd love to do what we can to help you improve your experience moving forward, or whatever it is, so that whenever people like me are looking through that kind of thing, and definitely realtors are spending a lot of time seeing what kind of reputation you have, and they see that you're publicly engaged in your consumers, and you're not just, again, in it for a quick sale. You really care about your customers' overall experience.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've actually been talking to the CEO of Social Survey a lot lately, and I know they're getting ready to publish a list of who are the loan officers that are getting have the most ratings and have the highest scores, and that's just another example of where technology is helping you have more personal relationships and helping you accelerate the trust and relationships with the people that you serve, because you're collecting testimonials, you're packaging them, and you're promoting them in highly efficient ways. Just like, Calendly and Schedule Once. They're helping you schedule more meetings. How cool is it to mass send 100 emails, have families just click a button and schedule a 15-minute meeting with you? Again, great examples of where technology is amplifying your voice, improving your human connection. And again, that is the key to success right now in 2018, January, and that will be your key to success to be relevant and successful in 2020. So what I am going to do is, go ahead. Did you want to say something else?
I was just going to say that I know it can feel overwhelming sometimes when we're talking about the multi-channel approach and how you need to stay on top of all this stuff. But it's really, as part of the productivity group, we talk about scheduling your time, blocking time aside, and it's important that you set this in your calendar as well. Like, just, it doesn't need to overwhelm your day by staying on top of customer reviews or staying on top of social media. You just set aside that time to plug away, or to have your assistant be logging in and checking on those. So again, using that kind of blocking time that we've talked about before, I think that's really helpful.
Love it. So I'm going to jump out here in just a minute. I did have a question from Catherine. Catherine, you asked, can you please explain what you do in a mortgage analysis meeting? I could reference a lot of videos. This particular video called The Best Mortgage Coach Scripts, and I have a LinkedIn article called 10 Real World Scripts. I would direct you to that. It's got talking points, scripting. I think it was the most watched video of 2017. So check that out, Catherine. When I'm not talking and I have a minute, I'll also share a link as to, here's some of the best scripts. And also, Catherine, if anybody does want to just dedicate one of these calls to scripts and talking points, I'll start a thread saying, hey, what are some of the scripts that you would like us to talk about? And we'll put a call on the calendar where it's just called, mortgage scripts. I know Jeremy Forcier posted a video in the community the other day. And again, I don't think there's anybody that's, decrowned Jeremy as the best scripts guy in the mortgage business. So maybe we can even get Jeremy to come and contribute. So Catherine, thanks for that question. And there is the answer for now. I don't see any other questions. So Michelle, anything you want to say around this conversation before I get ready to jump, or a direction you want to take things?
No, I agree the whole 100%. Just follow up with your reviews, follow up with your, total cost analysis, your annual reviews. Like Kristen said, I scheduled Tuesdays and Thursdays to do my social media. I don't do it any other days because I just don't have the time. But I do answer and address every single comment, positive or negative, on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 8 to 9 every morning. Dave, one thing, Sean Waite had posted a question. I was able to get to my Facebook that he said that he felt he wants more engagement with the clients and referral partners from the TCA because he felt some clients seem overwhelmed by it. And I just wanted to address that for 1 minute if I can.
Absolutely.
Okay, so Sean, I totally agree 100%. When I started doing my first total cost analysis, if you were to look at my first one from 2 years ago to today, it's completely different. I would over explain everything. I felt like I needed to go through every screen on the rent versus own or the total cost analysis. I actually just posted one into the Facebook group that I just did to help one of our potential buyers. They kept saying, well, I'm going to have to rent. So we said, this video is to help you, realize that you're no longer a renter, you're now a buyer. And it was very simple. I did not go through every single screen. I kept it very upbeat, and I think the video is under 1.5 minutes. But I'm happy for you to look at that. But I would just suggest not over explaining. You don't have to fit everything that's on that mortgage coach analysis into your video. I would leave it open for, hey, I had mine, hey, let me know a good time for us to connect, and we'll go over through more of the details on here. I don't know if that will help you, but I like to just like the colorful stuff of, hey, like on the rent versus own, I just want you to really pay attention to, in 5 years, how much you're gonna have paid in rent versus what you're gonna be worth that you can use for a move up next year. And then I'll briefly touch on the difference in payments, but I really want them to engage back with me. So I kind of leave it open-ended, like, I'd love to explain this more to you. Please let me know a better time to reach out to you. And I always tell them I'm going to reach out to you in the next 24 or 48 hours to schedule a time to go into some more detail. So I hope that helps.
Love that. And I'm going to give 1 minute of my color on that, and then I'm going to hand it off to you, Kristen. So first, let me say, too much information is just as bad as too little information. I think, that's summing up what Michelle said. And then I'm probably going to somewhat repeat what she said, but put it in a different color. that it's important that you understand their top goals. And then you highlight that in the TCA. Don't overtalk. Also, for you, I recommend you watch that scripting call too. I think while we don't do the scripts in response to your question, the scripts are the best practices. And if you watch that call and some of the other calls, like the Josh Metal from Price to Advice, where Josh, what do you say to your client before you give them the total cost analysis so that they click on the link 100% of the time and they're excited when they get it? Boom. And then what do you say to them when they're going through it? And again, if you watch that scripting call, you watch the Josh Metal call, my guess is you're either not setting the right expectation up front or you're over talking, probably. And by the way, I'd also say until you've done it 10 or 20 times, you're getting the marbles out of your mouth. So you're not even after watching those videos, until you've watched the videos, you understand it, and then you've done it 10 times, you'll fine tune it and it will become more effective, faster, better than what you're doing now. My last comment also is I'm showing it on the screen right now. This call, like all of our Friday calls, will be put on our YouTube page within an hour or so of the call. Please, if you get value from this, if you watch it and you like it. You give us a like in YouTube. Also, share it. Help us get the word out. If you're a manager on this call and you think it has value to your team, share it with your team. And with that said, Krista, I'm going to hand it off to you. If you could have a conversation about Realtor Lunch and Learns. If you guys see any more questions pop up in the GoToWebinar, please respond to them. And then also, Kristen, I did make you an organizer, so you should be able to look at questions at this point and close out the call.
Great, sounds good. Thanks so much.
All right, have a happy Friday.
Okay, happy Friday. So it looks like I can't share my screen though. Let's see, maybe I can pass it over to myself. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna share my screen and talk through a little bit about some of the like how to put together a Realtor Lunch and Learn. I've been doing quite a few of these with prime lending and different groups, and of course a lot of times loan officers will just hire me independently. And then I just brought on a partner, Andrew Lee, who managed over 300 events last year. And we've been talking a lot about how we can support loan officers in creating events or making them a little bit like just quicker, out of the box and modern for realtors to share value or be able to experience the value that you have to bring to the table. So I'm doing a whole webinar kind of on the topic of millennial realtor referrals next week. So I'll share a little bit of some of the marketing practices that I think are super relevant to the whole lunch and learn kind of event practice anyway, and I think would be just relevant. But as I go through this, Michelle and others on the call, if you have any additional comments or examples to share, please just jump in, and I'll just share a few minutes of this. So first, I wanted to just briefly share a little bit of this deck. This is one that Dave and I had talked through of how in talking about lunch and learns and in that video that was circulating about this topic. Overall, of course, it's always about bringing value and how you can promote value to your referral partners. So I think it's always great to just do it somewhere that's comfortable, where you can actually have a conversation. This is a picture of me doing one in Santa Barbara, and it was just a small group of people that are probably like 20 to 30 people having lunch, and it just is a comfortable setting for people to be able to really feel comfortable in asking questions and really understanding the resources that you're bringing to the table. So it's not just about, in this case, I was presenting on reaching millennials, I think, and it's not just about whatever topic you're bringing, but it's also saying, hey, we have this resource available to you. So here's another example. This is where Larry Davis from Prime Lending, I was doing his lunch and learn, and he got up and shared about Mortgage Coach and how the realtor partners and their consumers can benefit from their ability to provide these total cost analyses and different additional value offering. So that's the main thing. Let me go here. And then I wanted to share just a few of the best practices that I'll be covering on the webinar related to reaching millennial realtors. Since this is a topic that, again, is going to be relevant to anyone's overall marketing strategy. You can apply this to anything, but it certainly is going to be relevant to talking about marketing your lunch and learn and getting that and sharing this kind of information to your referral partners as well. So one thing that Dave had mentioned before is this multi-channel approach. And this is something that we're pushing. Both Dave and I are going to be really pushing this whole topic quite a bit. It can be totally overwhelming to think of just jumping on social media all the time, using multiple things to be able to communicate. But this is the world we live in. And just like Michelle was saying, you can block aside time that you're working on different channels. I personally don't. I now keep open Facebook Messenger all the time. I was really trying not to do that because I don't like getting distracted. But other than that, I don't log into anything else until I'm in that frame of mind to be able to respond to everything and post things and all of that. So you can set aside those times, but know that there are certain areas or certain channels of communication that you leave open that you're constantly communicating through. For me, and I think for most loan officers and realtors, it's going to be Facebook Messenger. That's going to be really important moving forward. And of course, text messaging. So those are the two that are important to stay on top of and respond to things really quickly. And then another thing that we found from a lot of people have mentioned this, that Dave has interviewed from different millennial realtors, is using video. So as you're promoting realtor lunch and learns or just getting to know or communicating with a realtor, try using short videos to communicate that, where you're sending a quick response saying, hey, I just want to let you know, I just met with this client and this is what we're doing. And then you text over that video. Super easy, very